Have you ever stopped and wondered who's really pulling the strings? We go about our daily lives. We work, we pay taxes, we watch the news, and we generally believe the story we're told about how the world works. But what if that story isn't the whole truth? What if the reality of who holds power is far more complex and hidden than we imagine? Today, we're going on a deep dive. We're peeling back the layers of the world we think we know to explore the hidden structures of power that shape our lives. This isn't about spooky conspiracies or secret societies in cloaks, but about understanding the real, tangible networks of influence that operate just beneath the surface of our everyday reality. Let's start with a simple question. When you think of power, who comes to mind? Most of us would say governments, presidents, prime ministers, and yes, they absolutely hold significant power. They pass laws, they command armies, they set national policies. But are they the ultimate authority? Or are they, in many ways, just the public-facing managers of a much larger enterprise? Think about the global economy. It's a vast, interconnected web of finance, trade, and industry. And at the heart of this web are massive multinational corporations and financial institutions, companies with revenues larger than the GDP of entire countries, banks that can sway markets with a single decision. These entities aren't just participants in the global economy. They are the architects of it. Their influence extends far beyond the marketplace, through lobbying, campaign donations, and the famous revolving door where government officials leave public service to take high-paying jobs in the private sector, and vice versa. Corporate interests become deeply intertwined with political policies on everything from environmental regulations and healthcare to labor laws and taxes are often shaped not just by public good, but by the powerful voices of corporate boardrooms. It's not a secret meeting in a dark room. It's a well-documented system of influence that happens in plain sight. This leads us to one of the biggest lies we're often told, that we live in a pure meritocracy where anyone can succeed with enough hard work. While hard work is undeniably important, this narrative completely ignores the structural advantages and disadvantages that people are born into. The idea that the system is a level playing field is, for many, a comforting illusion. The truth is wealth and opportunity are often inherited. Access to elite education, powerful social networks, and financial capital gives some people a monumental head start in life. The child of a billionaire and the child of a single parent working 2 jobs do not start at the same line. To pretend they do is to ignore the very real barriers that exist. This isn't to say people can't overcome adversity. They do, and it's incredibly inspiring. But we must acknowledge that the game is rigged in favor of those who already hold the cards. Now, let's talk about another powerful force. The media. The news we consume, the movies we watch, the social media feeds we scroll through, they all shape our perception of reality. They tell us what's important, who the good guys and bad guys are, and what we should think about the world's most pressing issues. But who controls the narrative? In many countries, a handful of massive media conglomerates own the vast majority of news outlets, television networks, and movie studios. This consolidation of media ownership means that the diversity of viewpoints we're exposed to can become dangerously narrow when a few powerful entities control the flow of information. They have the ability to set the agenda, frame debates, and manufacture consent for certain policies or ideas. It's not necessarily about telling outright lies, but about what stories are highlighted and which are ignored, what perspectives are given a platform and which are silenced For example, stories about corporate malpractice might get far less airtime than stories about celebrity gossip. Critical examinations of foreign policy might be drowned out by nationalistic fervor. We're given a carefully curated slice of reality, designed to keep us engaged, but not necessarily informed in a way that challenges the status quo. And this brings us to the very nature of money itself. We think of it as a simple tool for exchange, but it's much more than that. Our modern financial system is built on debt. When you take out a loan, new money is essentially created. This system is controlled by central banks, which are often described as government institutions, but many operate with a significant degree of independence from direct democratic oversight. These institutions, like the Federal Reserve in the United States or the European Central Bank, have the power to set interest rates, print money, and bail out massive financial corporations. Their decisions can create economic booms or trigger devastating recessions affecting the lives of billions. Yet, how many of us truly understand how they work or who is making these monumental decisions? The control of currency is one of the ultimate forms of power, and it's largely held by a small group of unelected technocrats and bankers. So, we have corporate power, inherited wealth, media control, and the financial system. When you put all these pieces together, a different picture of the world begins to emerge. It's not a world run by a single shadowy figure, but by a complex and interconnected class of elites, a transnational network of corporate executives, financiers, media moguls, and key political figures who share a common interest in maintaining a system that benefits them. They might compete with each other for market share or political advantage, but they largely agree on the fundamental rules of the game: the primacy of capital, the importance of endless growth, and the maintenance of a stable global order that allows their wealth and influence to flourish. Their power isn't absolute, and it's constantly being challenged by social movements, independent journalists, and everyday people demanding change. But it is the dominant force shaping our world. So, what can we do? It can feel overwhelming to think about these massive systems of power. But the first and most crucial step is simply to become aware, to question the narratives we are fed, to look beyond the headlines and ask, who benefits from this? Who is telling this story? And what might they be leaving out? We need to cultivate media literacy. That means seeking out a wide range of information sources, especially independent media that isn't beholden to corporate advertisers or government pressure. It means learning to spot propaganda and distinguish between fact-based reporting and opinion-based punditry. We also need to understand that real change often comes from the ground up. Throughout history, every major step forward for civil rights, workers' rights, and environmental protection was won not because powerful people had a sudden change of heart, but because ordinary citizens organized, protested, and demanded it. Our collective power is immense when we are united and focused, engaging in local politics, supporting businesses that are ethical and sustainable, and joining community groups that are working for positive change are all practical ways to start shifting the balance. It's about reclaiming our power, one conversation, one action, one community at a time. The world is not a simple story, and there are no easy answers. But by daring to look behind the curtain, we empower ourselves. We move from being passive consumers of a prepackaged reality to active participants in the struggle to create a more just, equitable, and truthful world. The journey begins with a question and the courage to seek out your own answers. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey today. If this conversation sparked something in you, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the topics that matter. And please share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's keep this crucial conversation going. See you next time.